All right, so let's talk about Johnny Depp's testimony this afternoon. I already, in an earlier video, talked about his testimony this morning. I gave him a B+, but I have to say that this afternoon, I mean, he just really ran away with it. And I don't, it was a combination of things. First of all, the moment that audio, thank God that audio was introduced. If you haven't heard the audio, it's 2.5 hours of Amber Heard and Johnny Depp talking, arguing verbally at various times. But in the audio, over and over, Amber Heard admits to committing violent acts against Johnny. She berates him. She's horrible on the phone on this recording. And Johnny Depp keeps asserting that he doesn't want to fight. He wants to chill out. He wants to de-escalate. And Amber even acknowledges this. She says, "You always run away from fights." It's very clear when you listen to the audio. And look, if you haven't been following this case, a number of us who have been following this for a bit now, and there are a number of people in the Depp supporter community who followed it much more thoroughly and closely than I have, and for longer. But those of us who've been following this case, we have all been saying to a man, to a woman, we have all been saying that the audio was probably what this thing was going to turn on. And I don't know if Johnny Depp is going to win this defamation case, because the case is not about whether or not Amber Heard abused him or Amber Heard even lied about the abuse. It's more complicated than that. It's, did she commit defamation in this specific Washington Post article that she wrote, where she did not name him, but she was clearly talking about him. So Johnny Depp could still, there's a very good chance Johnny Depp could lose this trial, but I'm telling you, he's not going to lose it. If he loses it, and I hope he won't, but if he does, it's not going to be because the jury thinks that he's an abuser or the jury believes Amber Heard, because there's just no way, there is no way that a thinking human being can hear that audio and does not almost immediately recognize what's going on here. Oh, this woman has a personality disorder. She's got big problems. She's abusive. She's gaslighting this guy, and he's trying to de-escalate things. It's very, very clear when you listen to this audio. And the jury, even though only snippets of this audio were played in court, the jury is going to have access to this. So look, I mean, that as far as who the jury is going to like and who the jury is going to believe going forward, it's one. And that audio won it. But on top of that, Johnny Depp gave just a really great, I hate to say performance. I mean, he's an actor, but it felt genuine. He expressed himself very well, and he brought it home. He really did. He brought it home. I don't sing his praises for no reason, because as you know, I have if you've been watching my videos, there have been times so far in this trial where I've been critical of him and I've been critical of his team, just the way that they're conducting themselves or the trial at various points. Although on the whole, I think that that he's doing well, especially after this afternoon. I mean, this was like one of those, home run, knock it out of the park situations. And I feel like, I talked in the earlier videos about how there was a kind of a rambling, which a lot of people have noted, but there's a kind of a rambling quality to Johnny Depp's testimony so far yesterday and this morning, and that I was feeling like maybe that was starting to get a little bit old, although I thought it was overall effective. But everything just felt like it just got like focused and it came together with his testimony this afternoon. I guess because he was talking about really the meat of this case, and talking about this very sad, traumatic period that he went through, and maybe too because he found a groove or whatever. But it just felt to me, for whatever reason, and maybe it was something about having those tapes come in, I felt like the energy, the audio, I felt like the energy just really changed when the audio came in. And yeah. I mean, it was listening to that audio. This is going to sound weird to those of you who have not been following this case. Those of you who are following this case, you will know what I'm talking about. Listening to that audio, hearing some of that audio, and it was just some snippets, but hearing some of that audio played in court with Johnny Depp sitting there on the witness stand, witnesses, people surrounding, and Amber Heard having to sit there and listen to it, it was, I have to say, a kind of almost religious or transcendent moment. And don't think that I'm crazy here. I'm just telling you, like, it is very, like, let me just say to the Depp supporters out there, and I know at times there's a few of you have had some differences with, I'm sorry about my contribution to that, whatever it was. But I think that we can just all universally, I think all of us who have been in Depp's corner and who have been paying attention to this, I think we all had this feeling today when that audio was played of a kind of transcendent moment of finally, because how often is it in life that you have a situation where someone does something terrible to someone else, and not only do they have to be brought to account, not only are they brought to account for that, but they have to do it publicly in front of other people. Like, that is really like a, you know, talk about revenge is a dish best served cold. But I mean, that is really something. And you don't get that too often in life. And I'm not trying to revel in the revenge. It's not about revenge. It's about, I think it's those tapes being, the audio being played today, it's about vindication. And the fact that it was a public vindication. And Johnny Depp has not gotten that so far. He has been pilloried and dragged through the mud publicly. He talked about it today. I thought that his statement toward the end about what this ordeal has done to him, I thought it was tremendously powerful and well delivered and totally on target in tone and delivery and everything and wording. There was some really powerful moments there, very powerful moments. And so my point is, I think this was a really powerful day of vindication that Johnny Depp was finally getting, and I'm not the only one to note it. A number of people have. So anyway, that was really like the overall thing. This was one of those just huge momentum shifting, not that the momentum had been going in Amber Heard's favor, it hadn't, but momentum accelerating moments in the trial. And from here on, as others had noted, it's a matter of now proving technicalities to the jury and hoping that the jury dislikes Amber Heard so much and what she did to Depp that maybe they'll punish her for that, or they'll vindicate him publicly and award him justice. Now, let's see where to begin. I don't want to make this video too long because people get discouraged from watching the videos when they're too long, but I've been doing these every day, and I did another one earlier today. So if you watch the one that I did earlier today before lunch, you can see the real change in my attitude. But it really was, this afternoon was really powerful. And, I thought it was really, I had a critique in my earlier video about the fact that I thought that they had not yet, in Johnny Depp's testimony, his lawyers had not yet gotten him to really lean hard into discussing all of the abuse that he suffered from Amber Heard. But that's something they also rectified in the afternoon testimony, because he was talking about numerous incidents and violent incidents, and of course there was a lot about the Australia incident, and there was a lot about the incident when he came home from getting this horrible news about his finances, and then Amber was freaking out, and he talked about how she was freaking out and getting violent, and finally in frustration he said, "Yeah, just hit me, it'll make you feel better," and she just kept beating on him, right? And then, of course, he talked about how shortly after that, he left, and then he returned, and he discovered that he heard that she or one of her friends had shit in the bed, and in the marital bed, and it left, feces there, human feces there, as I guess a kind of a, sign to him. And that was really like and his mother died. That's the part that I left out too, is it seemed like the final straw for him was finding out that his mother died. And he said that that really made him think when his mother died about the brevity of life. I thought it was very poetic when he talked about the fact that life, he realized then when his mother died that life is a bird song, and that he said 100 years is like a millisecond. And that understanding compelled him to finally recognize that he'd given it his best shot with Amber, and it was time to let go. It was time to take this poison out of his life. And so then he talked in his testimony about how, he was, he was clear with her that he was not gonna be difficult. He was not gonna drag her through the mud. He was not gonna make this painful or whatever. He wanted it to be like as painless and amicable as possible. And of course, she wasn't down with that, and so she fabricated this hoax. He talked a bit about the money in their settlement that she had pledged. Remember that she had pledged that she was going to take their divorce settlement money, $7 million, and she was going to give it to charities because she wanted people to understand that she wasn't in any of this for the money. Only she didn't actually give the money to charities, as we know. She got her boyfriend at the time and possible unwilling baby daddy, Elon Musk, to donate some of the money, but most of it didn't get donated. And one of the things that Johnny Depp was talking about, as we know, but he was talking about is that initially Johnny Depp was wanting to donate this money directly to charities. Since Amber Heard said it was all going to go to the charities, then why not make the payments to the charities themselves? And when he made the first payment to the charity, to the Children's Hospital, I believe, Amber Heard freaked out and was like wanting to fine him and stuff because she didn't want that money to go there. She wanted the money to come to herself, right? It was all part of the hoax. So, yes, we talked about those things. I mean, there was just a lot of powerful testimony, and that combined with the audio adds up to the fact that Amber Heard is not going to be believed and is not going to be liked by this jury anymore. And I just don't see what they can do. I know they're going to cross-examine him heavily. I know that they're going to bring up some things that don't look good and so forth, but I just don't see what they can do to overcome today. Today was really, really the mark, the second half of the day. Like I said, I thought the morning, it was in some respects a bit shaky, but the second half was really strong. Depp was super strong. He really hit his stride and he brought it home. And look, the truth is, whether we're talking about a movie or we're talking about a book or we're talking about witness testimony, you want the strongest part to be the end. You want that final impression. You want everything to come together and to cohere. You want to stick the landing, as they say in figure skating. And I guess in skiing, I don't know. But you want to stick the landing, and he stuck the landing, and those audio tapes were in and of themselves also extremely helpful. I was watching Legal Bites. There's lots of great people streaming, and I really appreciate, I've watched some of Dr. Soup and Stevie J. Raw, and also Come Geek Some, Rob's Rules. There are a bunch of people doing great stuff. But I've been watching Legal Bites a lot, and it's mostly all lawyers on the panel. And a number of those lawyers, well, at least several of them, are not familiar with the case, which is fine. They're there to provide commentary on the trial as it's happening, right? The host is familiar. But anyway, so they were all, sitting there on the panel, and when the audio started playing, when that first or second audio snippet, I think it was the first one, started playing, these lawyers, I loved it. A couple of them freaked out because they had not heard the audio before. And you could see, it's like in the Bible in the New Testament, when the scales fall from Paul's eyes, you could see that when they were like, oh my God. And it's sort of that realization of and one of them even said it, this woman is crazy, right? And then as Johnny Depp continued to, and the host too, I loved it. The host was like, I told you guys, right? But then as Johnny Depp began to discuss discuss the audio, and then also to get into some of the other crazy violent things that Amber had done, you could just see the incredulity kind of growing with some of these lawyers who were was discovering this is a really crazy case. And let me just say, if you think this is crazy, you ain't seen nothing yet. Ain't seen nothing yet. Wait for the Marilyn Manson case. I'm telling you. Some of you already know, but I'm telling you. And they'll be bringing Manson up. They're going to bring up the boogeyman tomorrow in cross-examination. They are. They keep bringing him up. Amber Heard's side, they keep bringing up the boogeyman. And I have a feeling they're going to lean hard, at some point they're going to lean hard into that. And these 3-day drug binges. I think a 3-day drug binge is kind of lame, actually. I say go for a week. But anyway. And yeah, I know it's a Marilyn Manson song, right? 3rd day of a 7-day binge. So they're not even original. Yeah, so what was I saying though? And so at one point in Depp's testimony, when he got to the part about after, really toward the end of their marriage, when he decided to divorce Amber, and Amber calls him up to the apartment, and he goes in. Depp goes in. He's got a security guy kind of behind him. And Amber is like way away from him, and she's like, Johnny, don't hit me. Like Johnny's way over here, and she's over here, and she's screaming, Johnny, don't hit me. And then the security guard, and Johnny, they both realize that something really fishy is going on here. And the security guard's like, dude, we got to get out of here, boss. We got to get out of here. So they leave. But when he discussed this, I was watching Legal Bites, and again, a couple of the lawyers, they didn't know anything about this, right? And so one of the lawyers, and I'm sorry I don't remember your name, but one of the lawyers said, guys, if this is true, like if what Johnny Depp is saying is true, like this is like as crazy as like a bad like movie or something, right? I can't remember exactly what he said, but something like that, or like a Lifetime movie. And that's the thing, it is really that crazy. And if you think it's crazy right now, we still haven't gotten into, there's a lot of other stuff we haven't gotten into. I mean, today was definitely, it's going to be the most probably important day of the trial. But there's still some other revelations. So anyway, there's a lot more that I could say, a lot more that I could get into. God, how long has this been going? Oh, only 16 minutes. Well, you could talk more then. So we got, I thought that a couple of things I want to say about the morning's testimony that I didn't get a chance to say earlier. I thought that it was really interesting when I thought Depp did a really good job of explaining his relationship to Amber Heard in terms of like her attitude toward him, and the way over time she, like a lot of people with personality disorders, she became a different person. He said at one point, like he didn't recognize her. After a year and a half, that amazing person that he had been with was gone. And he talks about how she had a need for violence, that not only was she very violent, but she seemed to have like a real need for this, and that she had to have violence, that she had to have that component there. And in fact, we see that borne out in the audio. She says to him, you have to be able, they're discussing her violence, and Johnny Depp is expressing to her in this audio that she needs to, they need to try to do something to stop the violence. And she says, but you have to let me, like, I've got to be able to be mad. You have to let me, as if basically she's saying, you have to let me be me. And being me means knocking the shit out of you and spitting and whatever else she was doing, right? Johnny Depp talked about her reaction, or he talked this morning too about the fact that one of the reasons after the marriage had clearly soured that he did not leave her was because his own mother, and again, on the first day of Depp's testimony, he really did a good job of discussing his family background, and you can really see how something like this happened. But he says that just because his own mother had tried to commit suicide when his father left his mother, that he didn't want that to repeat with Amber. And so, I think for the first time, I really understood too that what motivated Johnny Depp to stay with Amber was not just love for her, but also a romantic love for her, but also a real fear going back to what he'd experienced with his mother, that this woman would hurt herself and he would be responsible. I mean, he wouldn't actually be responsible ethically, but like, that's how it would feel, right? And I thought that was really sad. I thought that was really powerful. And again, we just see in a real Freudian sense, when I tell you what, a lot of you know that I really like psychoanalysis, not just the Freudian stuff, but the post-Freudian, and also modern psychological theories. But I really like to analyze celebrity cases with reference to, deeper psychological ideas, and not just the basic, personality disorder thing, but like deeper than that. And so what I'd like to do is, once this trial finally wraps up, I'd like to go back over the testimony and think about it and do like a longer psychological analysis of some of the stuff that we've learned. But I thought that there was a lot of self-knowledge that Johnny Depp has clearly gained about his relationship with Amber. And I thought that, as much as the drug and alcohol thing at times I thought was still a little bit problematic, I thought that he just did so well when it came to describing his relationship with Amber and what he was thinking and why he was putting up with it and why he was staying. And, of course, he loved her tremendously. I think that, we haven't heard about this yet in the trial, but for those of you who don't know, actually, Johnny Depp mentioned it today, and I thought that was very well done. He snuck that one in there. He mentioned that Amber Heard had tried to get him to break, or had gotten him to break the restraining order by meeting secretly. And in fact, they ended up meeting in San Francisco. This was something that Christian Carino, who was Johnny Depp's agent, or he was just a Hollywood agent? Sorry, I can't remember. I think it was Depp's agent, and maybe also Heard's. But Christian Carino also engaged at one point to Lady Gaga. Christian Carino had arranged this sort of secret meeting in San Francisco. I did a video on it, so you can look it up. But anyway, the long and the short of it is that it seemed like Amber Heard was either trying to get Johnny Depp back, or was trying to get sympathy from him to try to manipulate him at that point into doing some things she wanted. I believe it was the latter mostly. And in fact, I think Johnny Depp, when he met up with her, finally realized that, she doesn't want me. She's just being manipulative. But my point is, like, she was not afraid of this man as she claimed to be, because she was trying to get him to meet and behind everyone's back and to break the restraining order. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. He got that in there, but also it tells us something about him. It tells us that he really deeply loved this woman, and even after all she put him through, even after the false allegations, that walk of shame that she did outside the courthouse with that fabricated bruise, that even after that he was wanting to take her back. And I think a lot of us can understand that. And anyway, but again, it just shows you what this man felt toward her, that he could really overlook so much of this shit. I talked about the Australia incident, right? Talked about how the finger got sliced off. Talked about the fact that he got MRSA after that. It was life-threatening sort of thing. And I thought that there was. I thought that we got. I think that we just got a really good sense of Johnny Depp in this testimony. And there was really only 1 or 2 times when he showed any kind of attitude. I mean, any kind of perturbed or sarcastic attitude. And of course, we're going to see the cross-examination tomorrow, and that's where the rubber's going to hit the road in terms of whether he can continue to project this gentleness. And I would just say what I would say to Johnny Depp, as a layperson, yes, but as someone who has been paying attention, and as someone who thought that he hit it out of the park this afternoon and finished really strong, finished excellent, you don't want to let it come apart with the cross-examination. And the way that it could come apart, I don't mean that the cross-examination is going to invalidate everything. This was too strong. And let me just say, this was too strong a performance this afternoon. And those tapes, that audio is too strong for, I think, any kind of cross-examination to overcome it. But you can definitely have a more or less effective performance as being cross-examined. So what I would say is, whatever you do, Mr. Depp, do not let a perturbed or sarcastic attitude come through. I don't care if you have to think of England, as the ladies used to say in England. No, I don't care if that won't make sense to some people, never mind. But I don't care what you have to what place you have to go to, in your mind, or I don't care. But whatever you have to do, do not let them ruffle you. Do not let them ruffle you. Because that is the only time when you do look not so good, is when that little attitude comes out. And I totally understand that attitude. Look, you have been through the fucking ringer with this. Everybody understands you have the right to do a network, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore thing. Right? I get it. It's like Michael Douglas when he can't order the breakfast, at 10:31 in the McDonald's and falling down. Everybody would understand that reaction, or I know you're not going to do that, but everyone understands some sarcasm or some perturbed, but resist it nevertheless, because it doesn't do anything good for you. And one of the things that's still going to dog you just a bit in people's minds is this idea of being a self-entitled, narcissistic, big Hollywood star who takes himself too seriously. And I'm not saying that's who you are. I don't think that's who you are. And I don't think that's what you've come across as at all. But I do think that that's the thing to be avoided. So any kind of attitude that you give off that like, you know, I shouldn't have to put up with this, or I shouldn't have to answer this or whatever, it's not good. So whatever you have to do, whatever zone you have to be in, you know, then that's what you should do. And they're going to try to get you to go Jack Nicholson in this, and, you know, in A Few Good Men. And I know you're not going to do that, you know. There are some choice lines in that film. I love it when they're taking Jack Nicholson away, like they're dragging him away at the end, and he looks at Tom Cruise and he's like, I'm going to rip the eyes out of your head. And what does he say? Oh yeah, I'm going to rip the eyes out of your head and piss at your dead skull. Or is it fuck your dead skull? I don't remember. But anyway, but the point, if you'll remember in that the end of A Few Good Men, right, is that Tom Cruise really doesn't, he's the lawyer, right, and he's going to go up against Jack Nicholson, who's the witness that he's trying to bring down, right, and Tom Cruise really doesn't have anything on Jack Nicholson. All Tom Cruise knows is that Jack Nicholson is this egotistical guy, and Tom Cruise has this hunch that if he nags at him enough, or if he hits him in just the right way, or whatever, if he attacks that ego, gets him perturbed, then Jack Nicholson will have a meltdown. And that's what happens. And that's what the whole you can't handle the truth thing about is Jack Nicholson. He gets so irked by Tom Cruise, you know, yapping at him, that he has a meltdown. Now, I don't think Johnny Depp's gonna have any kind of meltdown, but I think that the more calm he can be, the more unperturbed, the more unsarcastic, and just let the waves hit you, right? I think that's the way to go. All right. So yeah, I'm sure there's a lot more that I should have discussed, but I'm going to do that wrap up with attorney Andrea Burkhart on Friday, and we're going to go over all the good stuff there, and I'm sure she'll have a lot of great insights. I had a technical difficulty with the live streaming. I've never done a live stream before. I need to get that stuff a little bit like better figured out. But I'm going to try to be on Legal Bites tomorrow, if possible. So watch them. I think they're great. Well, watch whoever, but I think that they're great. And yeah, if you like my commentary, I'm trying to put out as many videos as I can on this DeppvHeard thing. And if you're on Twitter or you're on Instagram, you know I'm posting about this stuff a lot. Follow me on Twitter, like, because throughout testimony, throughout the day, I'm just making lots of comments, some better than others. But anyway, but hey, if you're enjoying my content at all, please tip me. Patreon, PayPal. You don't have to be a member of PayPal to do it. And a little bit helps. So on that note, bye everybody, and go Depp.